Fury 325 is big and it is bad. I mean, it's really good, but like figuratively speaking, it's bad. Let me just start over. Fury 325 is big and it is good. I'm gonna rank every coaster and give them my review. Every drop and every hill, every launch and every loop. Rate it 1 to 10 and then we'll do it all again. Gonna rank and review every coaster. What's going on, everybody? My name is Mario. This is a channel all about amusement park type stuff, but mostly coasters. And today in my never-ending journey to rank and review every single coaster I have ever been on, we're going to be talking about Fury 325 at Carowinds. But before we do that, I wanted to quickly say thank you to my subscribers. You guys are awesome. And to anybody that's not subscribed, you better subscribe because it is the law. But without any further ado, let's review. Fury 325 is a Giga coaster manufactured by B&M. And for those of you who don't know, a Giga coaster is a coaster with a continuous circuit that is over 300 feet tall. But Fury is not any old Giga coaster. It is the tallest and fastest one in the world. Fury 325 has a maximum height of 325 feet, which is a remarkable coincidence. I mean, what are the chances? A whopping top speed of 95 miles per hour, a hefty track length of 6,602 feet, and a long ride duration of 1 minute and 5 seconds. And as you can tell from the stats, Fury is a behemoth of a coaster, but it is much more than a bunch of big numbers. It has been the recipient of numerous Golden Ticket Awards for Best Steel Coaster, and I think it is well deserving of those honors. Now, I'll get into my personal ranking of Fury later on, but for now, let's look at the off-ride experience. Fury is straight up massive. You can see Fury peeking through the trees on the interstate heading towards the park from several miles away. The ride towers over the parking lot and main entrance of the park, showcasing its ridiculous scale from the moment you see it. I absolutely love how this coaster interacts with the entrance, flying over and under all of the pathways. In addition to its massive size, Fury's appearance is breathtaking. Its color scheme is one of my absolute favorites, sporting multiple tones on the track itself. The ride sign, ride vehicles, and gates in the station all look great as well. Speaking of the station, Fury has incredible operations. You do have to pay for a locker for any loose articles that you have prior to boarding Fury, but that does help the loading times. On my visit, the ride regularly had a wait under 15 minutes, even on a busy Saturday. Fury also always had a grouper, and they did a great job of making sure every seat was filled. That being said, I didn't have any trouble requesting rows. Speaking of rows, I'll get into which one was my favorite later on in the on-ride experience. After riding Fury roughly 20 times, it met and in some ways passed my fairly high expectations. One of Fury's main attributes is its speed. A large portion of the ride is spent low to the ground, where you can get the full scope of how ridiculously fast you are traveling. You also have several top-tier airtime moments. The strength of airtime on this ride far surpasses that of any B&M Hyper coaster, which is a smaller coaster model that is closely related to Fury. The last notable characteristic of Fury is its intensity. This coaster really surprised me with how many positive G-forces there were pushing me into my seat. This combined with Fury's high speed contributed to the sole negative of the coaster, which was a slightly uncomfortable rattle. This was, however, only noticeable in a couple of spots on the ride, and it was not noticeable at all on the inside seats of the train. And like I said, I rode this thing 20 times, so clearly it didn't bother me that much. But enough jibber jabber, let's go through this coaster's beautiful layout. You dispatch straight out of the station into the ride chain lift hill. It takes just under 40 seconds for you to go 325 feet in the air, which is pretty fast. At the top, you get a good quick view of the surrounding area, including downtown Charlotte to your left. You're then released into your massive 320-foot drop, which delivers a wonderful free-falling sensation that lasts about 3 seconds. This drop also feels incredibly steep. The airtime on this drop isn't super strong. It's definitely floater airtime, but it's very good floater floater airtime, and as I just mentioned, it's very sustained. The airtime is slightly stronger in the back, but it is hardly noticeable in my opinion, so this drop is just a good fun floaty time no matter where you're sitting. The bottom of this drop hits you with a heavy dose of positive G-forces, forcefully pushing your body down into your seat. You feel every bit of that 95 miles per hour here as well, which leads to a bit of shakiness, but the intensity doesn't stop there. You then head into an overbanked turnaround where the positive G-forces lighten up slightly, but for the most part are carried through the entire turn. On several of my rides, I actually started to gray out here, meaning my vision started to go a little blurry. Coming out of this turn, the positive G-forces let up a bit, and I would always come to. Fury now shies away from positive G-forces a little bit and focuses more heavily on showcasing its speed. The next couple of turns are relatively low to the ground, providing breathtaking visuals both on-ride and off-ride. The front row certainly feels the full force of the speed here, but it's impossible not to notice how fast you're traveling in every row. In addition to the speed, the transitions between the turns provide minimal lateral G-forces, gently tossing you side to side, and you also experience about half of the positive G-forces from the elements prior. You then head into a turnaround referred to as the treble clef, because it looks like a treble clef. This is a wonderfully designed element that provides all the forces that you could possibly hope for. You experience over 4 seconds of sustained positive G-forces starting at the bottom of the element. Since the turn gets tighter the higher up you go, the strength of the G-forces pushing you into your seat doesn't let up until the apex of the treble clef. I did find the front row to be more forceful here, as the front simply has more momentum traveling upward than the back does. Upon reaching the peak, you are greeted with a jarring yet comfortable jolt of lateral airtime. Your body is simultaneously traveling sideways and up out of your seat. In the front rows, these forces are stronger at the apex of the element, and in the back, the forces are stronger exiting out of it. This element finishes by spitting you out into a tunnel with some lighting, and you can actually see people waving at you from the bridge that you are diving under. This showcases more great visuals for the coaster, and of course, that beloved sense of speed. Entering into the turn that follows provides a moderate amount of laterals, but this is the first part of the ride where you notice the speed starting to let up because you no longer feel like you're going so fast that your face is melting. This turn is a bit higher off the ground than some of the turns prior, and the ride simply just isn't traveling as fast as before. Exiting out of this turn is probably the least exciting part of the ride, as the valley is super shallow, but you are still traveling fast, so I wouldn't dare go as far as to say it's boring. The element that follows is an airtime hill that is one of my favorites. There is a trim brake that will slow you down relative to how fast you're traveling, but I found the airtime on this hill to be fantastic and consistent regardless. And it's a little difficult for me to describe the strength of airtime on this hill, as I wouldn't want to call it floater, but I'd also hesitate to say it's full-blown ejector airtime. The best way to describe it is that it delivers an exciting floating sensation that manages to be graceful yet intense at the same time. The airtime is also incredibly sustained, lasting well over 3 seconds. The next element is a helix. This isn't the most exciting part of Fury, but it's far from a dud. This helix is not forceful at all, but you do stay relatively close to the ground, maintaining a relatively high speed through the entire turn. You also have the added excitement of a hand chopper from a support, and it's quite amusing watching all the riders drop their hands as you pass underneath it. You then have a fantastic finale as you traverse 2 strong airtime hills. These hills provide similar airtime to the first hill, but these 2 are noticeably stronger. I think I would consider the airtime to be ejector, although it's far from the strongest airtime I've ever felt. Both hills feel very fast yet sustained, and the second hill also provides some moderate laterals as the exit turns you to the right. The entrance into the final brakes provides one last pop of floater airtime that is considerably stronger towards the front. And to circle back, I definitely prefer the front. The only moment that I enjoyed better in the back was the first drop, and even even that was negligible. You obviously also feel the ride's speed better in the front, but a lot of the ride's elements were just better up front as well. In addition to the moments I mentioned prior, I preferred all of the airtime hills up front. Similar to what I said in my Intimidator review, the airtime is just more sustained. The front starts getting airtime as soon as the hill starts to level out, and the airtime takes a tad longer to start in the back rows. That being said, I'll literally take middle row on Fury 325 because the ride is just that good. So, what would I rate this coaster? Fury is a perfectly well-rounded coaster that balances grace and intensity better than any other coaster I've been on. Its minor flaws are easily overlooked, and it delivers everything that you could possibly hope for. So, it gets a perfect 10 out of 10. But is it good enough to be my favorite coaster? Not quite. But it is close. It currently sits at number 4 out of the 241 coasters that I've been on so far. For now, the only ride above it that I've reviewed so far is Iron Gwazi, which is just completely relentless, whereas Fury has like 1 or 2 spots where it does relent. But that's enough of my thoughts on Fury 325. I'd love to know what you guys think about it in the comments down below. Go ahead and give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe and turn on notifications for more content like this. And make sure to tune in next time where I'll be talking about whatever this wheel lands on.